welcome to The Business Coach, a show in which you out help entrepreneurs better their businesses. My name is Ian Dennis, and tonight on the show we're going to be exploring the fashion business. And with me, I have two guests who are going to be helping me dissect this and have a good conversation as you always do. On my left is Neema, the founder of Ohana. I got that right?
Yes.
And on my father, I didn't say wapi, katika hiyo upande wengine, niko na Sam Ominde, who's the founder of Gentile Fashion. And I'm going to be having this conversation courtesy of Visa. And I want to just let you guys know that you can go to the Visa website, that's visa.co.ke, whereby you can just register to the hub where you can have a lot of access to information on entrepreneurship. And also the first 100 people who get to register on the hub get to have $200 worth of digital marketing. Look, $200 can do quite a lot. But just don't do that right now, do that during the break as they get to have this fantastic conversation. Ohana?
Yeah. Yes.
Neema, I don't know why I keep confusing your name and Ohana.
No worries.
So
People call me Miss Ohana.
Miss Ohana. So it's right to call you Miss Ohana.
Yeah, it's
All right,
fine.
you've been officially baptized. Let me just start off. You're in the swimwear business and you're doing something quite unique. How did this idea come about?
Right. So it actually came about when I was planning to travel, and we were actually planning a Euro trip for school. And during that period, I was like, okay, I need to represent when I'm abroad.
Yeah.
So I had everything from African print clothing, sandals, shoes, everything. But I was like, okay, it's summer, I'll be at the beach most of the time. So where can I get African print swimsuits as well? So I started researching, I started looking for them. I was genuinely looking to buy. So this whole idea came from a personal need. I was looking to buy, I researched in Kenya, I checked the online shops, I went to boutiques. No one was doing it. So I started researching abroad. Are people doing this? Is this a thing? And there are more established countries who are ahead. So for instance, Nigeria, they have everything. So I started researching. I'm like, okay, these other countries, they've started innovating. It was a new thing then there as well.
Which year was that?
2017. So it was like a few businesses had already come up in other countries, and they were like a year, 2 years old. So I started doing my research. I'm like, why can't I do this here? So I looked into other companies and factories abroad, and I was like, you know what, let me just order my own swimwear for just the trip. I didn't think of it as a business. So I ordered my piece, and then once we went for the trip, and then all my friends are like, where did you get this with? I'm like, I can link you up. I didn't give them the company name. I was like, I can.
You can actually just do that for them.
Yeah, exactly. And that's how, so once I bought the swimsuits, just a few pieces, and then they paid me. I was like, okay, this can actually be a business. Right. And then once I discussed that with my parents, my dad was like, first of all, do a due diligence on this. There's no market for it. There's no need. Nobody cares about this business. So he said, just the first pieces, do your research, see if people are willing to buy, and put their money where their mouth is. Yeah.
Interesting. And Sam, why did your love for the cloth come about?
I think mine was born out of the fact that I grew up in Eastland. So, I mean...
Like most of us.
Well...
We can relate.
Yeah, that's nice to hear. But the thing is, the closest place where I could find decent clothing was Gikomba. So, growing up, we used to go there to pick rubber bands so that we can make bowls. And quite obviously, thrifting clothes was an exciting thing because things were very cheap. So, I mean, I used to buy stuff, and because I had older siblings in the house, I used to like the way they would dress. I mean, I couldn't afford a suit that my big brother would wear, so occasionally would buy for me. When I had a bit of coin, I would go there, thrift a couple of stuff, and then I would dress. And I mean, some of my friends were interested. They were like, hey, boss, I like the way you dress, you know, where do you get your stuff from? And this was, I mean, I think I was still in primary school, so I was like, this is an opportunity for me to make a little bit of money. So I used to go and thrift stuff like ties, just clean them up in the laundry, then sell it to some of my friends. And yeah, so that's where I'd say that me thinking about a fashion business actually began.
Interesting.
Yeah.
And one of the things that I'm actually noticing from this conversation is it started off with a love for, what's it called, dressing well or trying to look for a niche. Maybe Sam, you can take me through how exactly was that process of now converting that love into a business? How was it for you?
So the thing is, I mean, as I slowly grew into appreciating my passion, I approached my dad and told him, you know what, like, I'm really enjoying doing this. Would you mind like giving me a small loan so that I can see if I can make something out of it? So he gave
The
me
loans
like,
from a party to never pay back.
I know, yeah. He's actually,
I'm
he
sorry,
actually
Dad.
keeps on asking me
Sorry.
about it. He actually keeps on asking me about
Ah,
it.
you're Rudy.
Tutalipa mbele.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Tunaona Kisha.
Yes, for sure, for sure. So he gave me like 10 Gs,
Yeah.
which I used to buy stock, then I cleaned up. And then over the course of time, I think him and the family sort of realized that I was really interested in this. And they were like, because my sister had been doing a couple of trips abroad. They were like, why don't you join one of your sisters in one of those trips?
Yeah.
And then I got the opportunity to travel to Istanbul.
Yeah.
So
That's Turkey.
Turkey, yes. So this is my personal opinion.
Yeah.
I feel like Turkey is like the 5th fashion capital of the world because the fabric and the manufacturing industry is so robust. Literally everyone on the street was really well dressed. So on this trip is when I actually got to, you know, visit some of these boutique shops. I got to understand why some of or most of the streets in Nairobi actually sell Turkish suits because it's really affordable and cheap there. So on this particular trip, I imported some of the stuff from there, and I started selling to some of the friends that had clientele I had established through the thrifting business.
Yeah.
So I did like a second trip,
Yeah.
and then a third trip now came in way later when I was struggling with the thought of, you know, I'm importing all these things to Kenya,
Yeah.
but I felt a bit, I felt like I was lacking creativity because what I was doing was basically just
bringing in-
importing.
There's no value addition.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And what I actually realized during that whole process was that majority of the stuff that I was getting was actually made for the Caucasian body. So a client would come in, the blazer fits, the pant is too small because I mean it's been made for yeah, it's not made for Africa, exactly. So I was like, that's one problem I identified. The other thing was, how can I make something that is unique? So I started doing research about, you know, what would make my pieces unique. And I was like, one thing that I really appreciated was that as Africans, our forefathers were very flamboyant. You know, you could spot a chief from a kilometer away. If it's not from the dangling feather on his head, it's from the highly embellished beads on his neck.
It's true.
So I was like, how do I bring that into the cloth? And one of the most simplest ways was, you know, incorporating color in suits. And
You were very colorful.
exactly, yeah. So the inner lining was one of the way in which I identified, you know, this is the easiest way that I can, you know, create a suit that is unique, that has character, that has personality. And, you know, the wearer is the only person who knows until he decides to, you know, maybe whip up his phone and he was like, damn, that's a very
Onto
good
iPhone.
lining. Exactly.
Maybe I can just come to you, Nemo, in terms of, you'd mentioned whereby you went for the trip abroad, you started doing
Right.
research in terms of how to go about the business, but how exactly was it for you now to convert this idea of having, what's it called, embedding the African cloth into swimsuit? How now did you go
Right.
about now making it a business?
So we have a very similar story.
There's a lot of
It's very-
similarities.
Clearly.
I'm sitting here
Yeah.
So guys, if you want to start a business, go to Turkey and Europe. Yeah. So for me, it's very similar because I actually asked my dad for money as well. To buy, thank you, Dad. Exactly, to buy just the first few, the ones my friends actually bought, the first few pieces.
Yeah.
And what he advised me was to do due diligence and see if this is actually a need. So I used that, and he advised me as well to start as a franchise. Do not start
As a
creating.
franchise, meaning that you just
I'm selling other
People's
person's
brand,
designs, brands rather. Yeah, so at that time I didn't have any brand name, I didn't have, because it wasn't my my designs and all that. So I started as a franchise just to see if there's a market. And once I saw, okay, people are reacting and they actually were selling out and all that, that's when I was like, okay, this can be a business. And what I did, the process, first of all, I dedicated that whole year, the whole of 2018, to see if this is something that can work. I just finished uni and I was like, I have nothing to lose. I might as well give this my all. And for me, I started from the ground up. I didn't know anything about running a business. So I was the delivery person. I was up late at night just researching, because one thing I realized in Kenya, we don't have the swimwear fabrics.
True.
And for my particular industry, like what I'm designing, I create the prints.
Yeah.
So that again is a huge cost, because if I have to outsource
Yeah.
and bring import just fabrics alone, and then I have to paint the printing, I have to do all these things, it takes a long time. So
Yeah.
I had to find an agent. So I looked online. When I started talking to factories, I started just emailing the ones who respond.
Yeah.
I'll be like, okay, who can I work with? Who can I trust? So that's how I slowly built until now I found someone I can trust and who helps me. And yeah, I built from the ground up. I sat down every day. I started learning how to do accounting. I started learning how to do deliveries. My first time I shot with the bikini, I started doing everything from the ground up till now I know every single aspect of my business, and I can hire people accordingly.
Interesting.
Yeah.
So we have to take a short commercial break. I think I have to wait here a bit because I'm now with people who went abroad to study how to do business. But courtesy of Visa, there's a hub you can check out on visa.co.ke where you can learn about all this information about entrepreneurship, how exactly do you start your business, how do you grow it, and how do you ensure that it actually lives to become quite mature. And also, you have a chance to win $200 if you're the first 100 merchants to register on the Visa hub on the visa.co.ke website. So don't touch that dial. I'll see you after the break.